What's up, everyone? Today we're gonna do Tetris Attack. It's one of my favorite games growing up on the SNES. One of my favorite two-player competitive games. It's real high tension. It can be anyway if you get the right opponent, which I had growing up. You'll meet him on this channel. He's going to be the other Nerdle in Time. His name's Ben. Him and I grew up playing this game all the time. I'd spend the night over at his place a lot, and we got really good at this game. We got so good that the game would like really have slowdown issues. It was pretty fun. So I'm just going to go through the one player versus. Oop, hit the wrong button. The one player versus story mode, basically. And if you know the code for extra hard mode, you go over to the hard setting selection over here, and you hold up L, R, and A, and then you get that extra red. That means you did it. That means very hard mode, which is basically how I like to play games. I don't really believe that I beat the game if I beat it on anything than the hardest mode. And that's what kind of led me here. Guess so. So this game, if you've never played it, it's got actually a legacy to it, where for the longest time I thought this was the only game in the series, but I was wrong. They continued on. You see how this is a Yoshi aesthetic. All the characters are inspired by the Yoshi or have something to do with the Yoshi universe. But the games following, they were all Pokemon. And that's where I didn't know. That's why I didn't know about all the sequels, because I didn't really care about Pokemon. I still kind of don't. But I did learn that it's called Pokemon Puzzle League, and it's basically the same game, same rules, same physics, very, very minor things that have been changed, if anything at all, for that game in particular. I haven't played the other ones, but I heard that there's basically a bunch of these games, and I'm really happy about that, because I always really liked this game. I always took to it. I mean, I immediately took to it when I first started playing it. I remember him and I, Ben and I, would play this game so much over at like sleepovers that we'd have, that it was my first exposure to, I don't know exactly what it's called, but I think it's called the Tetris Effect, where if you play Tetris, which is a different game, obviously, it's blocks falling down instead of coming up. But anyway, I don't need to explain Tetris. But anyway, I think the Tetris Effect is one of those. It's a thing that when you play Tetris for too long, close your eyes, you start to see Tetris blocks in your head, like behind your eyelids, that are just like arranging themselves in a Tetris fashion. And that was the first time I ever got that effect with this game. Wasn't Tetris blocks, it was the Tetris Attack blocks. It was these guys, and I was like arranging them to form like combos and chains like I'm doing right now in my head after a long ass session of gaming. And it was like my first exposure to hallucinating anything. It was really wild, and I'm like, what the hell's wrong with my brain? But you know, it was in one of those states where you're so delirious from staying up all night from playing video games anyway, that you're not even sure if it's really happening. And then I told Ben the next day after, and was like, and he's like, yeah, I had that too. It was really weird, and yeah, turns out it's a real thing that happens to people. Happens to people for FPSs too, so I hear. I've never had that happen myself, even though I've played a good share of FPSs in my life. It's only really happened to me in this game. It's the only game it's ever happened to me in, but it has happened in a different context when I had a job trimming weed, actually. The whole day, you know, you're just looking at weed buds and just snipping away at it, and after a while you start to see it when you close your eyes, you don't start to see weed buds, which is really weird, and I didn't actually like it a lot at all, because it was quite annoying. And then whenever you'd see like trees growing on the side of the street or whatever, you'd imagine big ass clippers that come in and snip all the branches. It was really annoying, but it did wear off after a while, and apparently it was a very common thing that happened amongst weed trimmers for the first few months of being a weed trimmer. It's just your brain acclimates to seeing that all day for hours on end. And, but this is a good game. I like this game. The one other game that I have played besides Puzzle League, Pokemon Puzzle League, is the game that this is originally based on, and it's called Panel de Pon. I don't know how to say it in Japanese, but that's what it's called in you know, English translation or whatever. Panel de Pon, and it's the same game as this. Exact same game, same level, same difficulty. Actually, I think it's a little bit harder, but it's the same game. It's just that it's not Yoshi. It's like little fairy ladies, and so it's a lot more girly, I guess. Even though I wouldn't call Yoshi and his friends very masculine. I think it's pretty unisex, I guess. But the other one, I guess, you know, it's fairies. Fairies fighting each other, or fairy going around fighting other fairies to free your fairy friends, and it's pretty cutesy. But it's more fun, I think, because it's a little bit harder. And there's actually one more. No. I'm sorry. That's not true. I was going to say there was one extra level, but that's not true. There's the same amount of levels. But yeah, so if you haven't worked out, if you've never seen this game before, if you haven't worked out how this game works, it's you clear off 3 panels to clear something. If you clear more than 3, 4 or more, you send a block over to your opponent, and if you can chain them together like that, and then the next fall, those would fall, and chain, and that would be a ×2 chain, ×3 chain. Every time you get another multiplier to the chain, you add a level of thickness to the garbage that you send over to the opponent. So they're very beneficial in fucking them over. It's the main way to beat the game. Combos and chains. So, in order to do that, I like to flatten it out right away and raise me up a bunch so that I have room to work. And clear off as much as I can before the enemy starts their garbage. Alright, so that went okay. It's a little bit dangerous, because if they send more than you're ready for, before you're ready for it, damn it, fucked up twice, then you can just end up screwing yourself over, which happens sometimes, but whatever. So for this game, the way to get the best ending is to beat all the levels. Well, it's to never die as Yoshi, actually. After a little while, you'll be able to play as the friends that you freed against Bowser and his asshole friends. And if you can manage to get to that, and then use your friends and not die at all as Yoshi, you get the best ending. But I guess the best ending would be to not lose at all, because everyone says something at the end, like all the little characters have a line of rejoicing that they beat Bowser at the end of the game, and I don't think that they're there if you lose as them in the game. I think they're just not there. They might be knocked out or dead or something. But I definitely know that they give you a little thing that says, "Oh, I know that we would beat him even better if you didn't lose as Yoshi or something like that. If you lose as Yoshi in the game, it's some silly explanation as to it, but it basically just tells you don't lose as Yoshi for the best possible ending in this game. So it's still stage 4. It hasn't gotten too hard yet, but you know, it will. Most of the time I can beat this game without losing a Yoshi, but it happens, you know. And I haven't played it in a while, so I am a little bit out of practice, but we'll see what happens, right? Okay. Ribbit. Not ribbit, but ribbits. Ah. He's got a little bit of delay on his mic. Okay, clear on this. Yeah. So yeah, I used to play this game all the time when I was a teenager and just a little before. I mean, this system came out in 91, 92, and so yeah, I was you know, good 5-6-year-old kid. No, I was 7 years old when this came out, when the system came out. So it carried me into my teen years well and good. I borrowed this cartridge from Ben at some point during our teen years, and let another one of my friends borrow it, and well, that was a mistake because I never got it back. But I mean, he didn't really mean to do that. We just didn't end up seeing each other too much after that time I let him borrow it. But finally paid Ben back. I just sent him a Sega Saturn, and along with it, I had found another copy of Tetris Attack at a local game store a couple of years ago, and I kept playing it as always. But finally paying it forward, but finally getting his cartridge back to him. It's not the same one, obviously, but finally he gets his game back, and I'm glad he let me borrow it that time, because I got really good at the game in that time. So hopefully I do get to the end of this game with the best ending. Although it has been a little while, like I said. There we go. It's a great sound for a fish to make, right? Blarf! Alright, here we go. It's a little bit annoying sometimes when that happens, because you don't have much to work with, and you don't want to raise it up too high because you might throw down more that you still don't have anything to work with, so you're just screwed on space. So you look for any little possible thing, and sometimes it's just not there and you just waste time. I will say I'll be very happy once I get my equipment all up to what I want it to be, up to my standards. Because I mean, this Xbox controller that I'm using is fine, but the Super Nintendo controller is where it's at for this game especially. I feel a little bit sluggish on this controller. just because it's not what I'm used to playing this game on. But I don't know, maybe after a couple more levels I'll adjust fully to it. But I think in the end, if I was to ever play this game again on the stream, I'd rather have it with my Frame Meister and Elgato and everything I need to be able to play the Super Nintendo on a real CRT. And you don't need a Frame Meister for that, but you do need a capture card. But my goal is to be able to capture my video into my computer and stream it at the same time, obviously, but also play the actual game on one of my CRT monitors, which I have a few, because they're the best thing to play these old games on, man. We'll never get to the point where CRTs are a more accurate way to play these old games. And if we do, I'll eat my words gladly, but I'll be amazed for sure if that happens. Yeah. Damn. Okay. Rested up a little bit. We're still good though. Still overall a good combo. Alright, I think this is the last level before we go into Bowser's Castle, yeah, or cave, or whatever it is. Facing off against Raphael the Raven. I like his little noise. Doesn't sound like a crow, or a raven, but I do like it. It's a cool little. Yeah, there we go. Damn it. Yeah, I just feel it's just the slightest bit sluggish on this controller. It could be just because I'm overall rusty at this game, but it's just bulkier, and I feel like you gotta push a little further in on the D-pad, which slows you down overall. Ah, man. I will say the SNES controller is probably one of my all-time favorite controllers, except for the fact it's got a major problem. It's it's super creaky. Like, it's real loud. You can always hear it like clacking around if you like squeeze it just a little bit. Like the plastic will creak and crack, and it's just a loud. It feels cheap because of it. Well, I guess it doesn't feel cheap. It sounds cheap. Because when you hold it, it doesn't feel cheap at all. It feels high quality. But like compared to the NES controller, it doesn't creak and crack when you have your hands on it just a little bit. This one's nice and quiet too, but it is bulky like Xbox controllers tend to be, which I don't have a problem with. But I think the best controller that's been developed so far is the nice PS3, PS4, you know, the PlayStation controller. It's got a really good idea behind it that hasn't changed much, and it doesn't need to, and I like that it hasn't. Nintendo's got this idea that you gotta change just cause, which, I mean, for the most part, they have good ideas, they have good innovation. I agree that like that one of the best reasons to be innovative is just because you haven't been in a little bit. But they go a little bit overboard with sometimes. The Wii was kind of a mistake, I think, overall. They could have just made something nice and powerful and solid without the gimmick of motion control, and it would have been a lot. The Wii U probably wouldn't have had to ever even been a thing, you know, because I think they just needed to shove something else out because the Wii started failing a little bit earlier than they wanted it to. just because they're focused on gimmicks and innovation, and you know, like I said, it's okay. But I do appreciate Sony for sticking to something that they know works, because it does work, and I like that. All right, this guy's getting a little bit too close for comfort here. Ah, yes, good. I'm glad that happened because I was my brain was starting to not work for a minute. Needs to regroup. Okay, we're good. All right, on to Bowser's baddies. And now we can choose who we want, so like I said, just don't lose as Yoshi and we should be good. So we'll start with Lakitu because he's a little nerdy loser, and I don't know. I'm just choosing him because he's first in line. Ah, way to start off with nothing. Okay. Ah, damn it. So I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4 fights in Bowser's Cave. And they do get harder as we go on, so I still very well might disrupt this perfect run that I've had so far. Okay, that's good, that's good. I like how this game works, though. I mean, I like the mechanics of it. It allows for quick thinking and creative combos, because like it's not always straightforward. Just drop the next one onto the next one, but it's like, you know, switch stuff around at the very last second to make sure everything lines up. It's one of those games that I think that the term is called flow, where it puts the person into complete focus into the game, where everything else just falls away for you, and the only thing you can do is concentrate on the game, because it just takes up all of your brain power basically, and I think that's one of the best things that a video game can achieve or strive to do. This does it. Obviously, normal Tetris does it. I think that's where the again, Tetris is one of those games that just leads to so many studies about the human brain. I think it's one of the things that led to the discovery of flow, if that's what it's called. But it's I just described it. But anyway, this game does it, and shit, I'm about to lose. Alright, cool. This game does it, and my very favorite game, and I think is the best game that has ever been designed, Centipede, puts you into that state, that flow state, because it's just all reactionary, very, very quick reflex, and learning like what to do in a certain situation and executing at a rate that's just as fast as you possibly can. Basically, you're almost not even thinking about it at all. You just let it happen. You let it flow, which I should probably strive to do right now because I'm about to lose. Alright, no, we're good. It's gonna fall in line like I want it to. Cool. Yes. All right. I think I got one more. Yeah, I think one more, and then Bowser. Yep, Magic Koopa. So I got 2, 4, 6, 8 chances. Well, 9 plus Yoshi if I don't die with him. So I should be freaking good. Hopefully I get a perfect run though. That'd be sweet. Alright. Damn it! Oh jeez, we're both going all out. Oh god, this isn't good. Okay, good. That's really lucky. I'm glad that was there because I would have been screwed otherwise. Okay, good. Let's get that lined up. Oh shit, this isn't good. He's whittling me down here. Come on. Okay, this is good. No, that's not good. That's not good. Okay. Shit, shit, shit. Okay, don't fuck up here. Okay, good. Much better. Much more manageable position. Damn it. Jeez. You get to that point sometimes where your brain just doesn't see anything, any patterns, even though they're all there. It's just kind of blurs out. Yes. Okay. Woo. I couldn't even look over at his screen to see what was going on. I was too absorbed in it. Oh man. Oop, oop. Wire problems. Alright, last level. Take a stretch, eh? Alright. Bowser, your time has come. A weird turtle on a cloud is gonna kick your ass. Oh boy. Could I be wrong? Shit. Okay. 16 seconds. That's great. I hate you openly and without regret. Man, that's a blunt turtle. Blunt cloud turtle. Alright, well, I'm mad, so let's go for the flame guy. Mad with fire. Can you see how mad I am? Alright. Arrgh. Okay. Looks like I should let him finish that. No. Okay, good. for the most part, I'm not very into puzzle type games. Yeah, nice. But this one and Tetris, Dr. Mario, I really like, and I'm a fan of Puzzle Fighter, but I'm not very good at it. For the most part, I'm not very good at these kinds of games. But this one, I think this is the one that I'm the best at of the puzzle type fighter games. But anyway, yeah, this is the end of the game. He shouldn't have fought this fight. He shouldn't have started this fight. You didn't need that many lip flaps for that. Doesn't make any sense, Yoshi. So I only lost Brave, Noble, Lakutu. I don't know how to say his goddamn name. And this guy's super annoying, because all little kids are annoying. You know that. Just kidding. He thinks he can beat Bowser. He don't know. He don't. Well, yeah, that was the game. Maybe one of these days I'll play the Panel de Pon, the Japanese original version of this game. Like I said, I think it's just a little bit harder. I'm not sure if the difficulty was literally raised or if it's just a little tiny bit faster overall. I think it might be a combo of the two. But when I'm feeling it, we'll probably do it. I mean, because why not, right? Why would I just play it and not record it if I've got this nice software to share everybody, share this with everybody? Together we can protect the peace of Yoshi Island. Alright, calm down there, you little speed freak. When does he get tired? Never. Alright, well, yep. Credits are rolling, so I'm gonna end the old video here. Have a good one, everyone.